And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli today discussed means of drawing in more foreign investments through incentives that include facilitating all measures needed by foreign investors in different sectors of the Egyptian economy. This came at a meeting that was attended by the Minister of Investment, Sahar Nasr, Finance Minister Mohammed Al-Maid, and Minister of Trade and Industry, Amr Nassar. The Prime Minister demanded that a group of certain determinants and simplified measures to be put forward to encourage foreign investors to inject more investments in different economic sectors. The meeting also said periodic meetings will be held in fixed dates to tackle certain files of importance for the government, including foreign investment and inter-ministerial financial disputes.
الوحيدة اللي واقفة على حيلها انتم. قد يكون في أخطاء، قلت لكم المشكلة كبيرة، والمشكلة دي أنا مش هقدر عليها لوحدي، لكن نقدر عليها كلنا. دوري عملته، بس دوركم انتوا دلوقتي. لما طلبتوني لقيتوني، ولم أبخل عليكم بحياتي. جه الدور عليكم وانتوا وعدتوني انكم هتقفوا جنبي. الإصلاح بياخد وقت طويل، ولازم نعترف إن ال6 سنين اللي فاتوا إن إحنا دولة ظروفها صعبة. تحيا مصر مش بالكلام.
مفيش أي حل تاني غير إن إحنا نشتغل.
شايفة مستقبل أولادي ومستقبل أجيال كتيرة جاية في مصر.
نقدر نعمل أكتر من كده، نقدر نجتهد، نقدر نعمل حاجات كتير في أرضنا.
ما تتخلوش عن بالكم، أنا اخترت الطريق الصعب. أنتوا اللي هتحددوا مصير مستقبل مصر بقوة شبابها.
Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry today stressed Egypt is keenly interested in maintaining Lebanon's stability. The remark was made over a phone conversation with Lebanon's Prime Minister Saad al-Hariri that focused on the latest developments along the Lebanese borders with Israel. The top diplomat said his talks with Hariri are part of an intense effort with all concerned parties to diffuse tension and prevent a deterioration of the security situation in Lebanon. And meanwhile, the Lebanon-Israel border area was quiet today after Lebanon's Iran-backed Hezbollah group and the Israeli army exchanged cross-border fire on Sunday. Sunday's incident, which caused no casualties, followed a week of rising tensions that included an Israeli drone attack on the southern district of Beirut on August the 25th. And we have more in this report by Minna Dessouki.
Calm returned to the Lebanese side of the borders with Israel this morning after a rare exchange of fire between Hezbollah and Israel with the United Nations interim force in Lebanon. The UN peacekeeping force on the frontier seen patrolling the border. Overnight, Israel's military said it appears that an eruption of fighting with the Lebanese Hezbollah group along the Lebanon border on Sunday is over after the armed group fired anti-tank missiles and Israel responded with 100 artillery and air shells. Israel has been on alert for a confrontation with Hezbollah for the past week after 2 Israeli drones attacked the group's stronghold in Beirut's southern suburbs. Amid the threats, Israel had moved extra forces into the border region, which was largely quiet since the 2006 war against Lebanon. Hezbollah said its fighters carried out an operation on Sunday with anti-tank missiles that targeted an army base and vehicles, destroying an Israeli military vehicle, killing and wounding those inside. Israel said there were no casualties. Israel fought a month-long war against Lebanon in 2006 after Hezbollah captured 2 Israeli soldiers in a cross-border raid, but it seems not eager for another conflict now ahead of Israel's September 17th election.
The Russian military said the United States carried out airstrikes in Syria's Idlib de-escalation zone in breach of previous agreements, inflicting numerous casualties and endangering a ceasefire. The Russian Defense Ministry said the United States had forewarned neither Russia nor Turkey about the strikes, adding that the Russian and Syrian warplanes had not carried out raids in the region recently. Earlier, the U.S. Defense Ministry said that the U.S. forces struck an al-Qaeda terrorist group facility north of Idlib in Syria in an attack aimed at the organization's leadership. The UK-based monitor said the strikes in Idlib province killed more than 40 militants, including some commanders. The Arab League Secretary General Ahmed Abul Ghait held talks in Cairo with United Nations Special Envoy for Libya Ghassan Salama on the latest political and security condition in Libya. Salama underlined that the Arab League should be part of the political settlement of the Libyan security crisis, stressing the importance of restoring security and stability to the conflict-hit country. And Tunisian presidential candidates began campaigning today for the September 15th elections. The presidential election was called early because of the death in July of President Beji Qaid Essebsi. More details in the following report.
Campaigning for Tunisia's presidential elections opened Monday with 26 candidates vying to replace late leader Beji Qaid Essebsi in a vote seen as vital to defending democratic gains and the cradle of the Arab Spring. 7 million Tunisians are expected to head to the ballot box in September 15th poll, which was brought forward from November following Essebsi's death in July. Tunisia has been praised as a rare case of democratic transition after the Arab Spring, and Essebsi in 2014 became the country's first democratically elected president. But the North African country has struggled with repeated terrorist attacks, along with inflation and unemployment that have hit the popularity of Prime Minister Youssef Chahed. Aged 43, Chahed is the country's youngest prime minister and a forerunner in the election campaign that ends on September 13th. He faces competition from a number of candidates, including interim parliamentary speaker Abdel Fattah Mourou of Al-Nahda, as well as former defense minister Abdel Karim Zuwaidi, who presents himself as an independent technocrat. Tunisia's Electoral Commission, which approved Saturday the final list of 26 presidential hopefuls, has banned the publication of surveys, making it difficult for pundits to evaluate each candidate's strengths.
The U.S. Special Representative for Afghanistan showed Afghan President Ashraf Ghani today the draft of an agreement between the United States and the Taliban expected to clear the way for a phased U.S. troop withdrawal. Zalmay Khalilzad, the Afghan-born U.S. diplomat who has completed 9 rounds of talks with Taliban representatives, is meeting Afghan leaders in Kabul this week to build a consensus before the deal is signed. The agreement is expected to include a staggered withdrawal of U.S. forces from their longest ever war in exchange for a Taliban commitment that they will not allow Afghanistan to be used by militants to plot attacks on the United States and its allies. And 9 people were killed when an air ambulance plane crashed at a resort area near the Philippine capital on Sunday, sparking a fierce blaze in Calamba City. Police said that the 9 dead were on board the King Air 350 light aircraft, and only 2 people on the ground were injured and rushed to the hospital. Philippine aviation authorities said the plane was carrying a patient and a medical team from the nation's south to Manila when it disappeared from the radar about 46 kilometers from the capital. And Cairo's Baran-en-Pin Palace is set to open its doors to the public next month after its restoration is complete. The palace was built by the Belgian industrialist and founder of Heliopolis, Edouard Louis-Joseph, or Baran-en-Pin, at the end of the 19th century. Its much-needed renovation started in 2017, and nearly 85% of the process has been completed so far. Inspired by the Hindu temple of Angkor Wat, Cambodia, the palace is often referred to as the Hindu Palace. And And Egypt's bourse today gained 6.6 billion Egyptian pounds, pushed by the foreign corporate purchases against local and Arab investor sell-offs, with its capital reaching 779.3 billion Egyptians at dealing's close. Benchmark EGX 30 index rose a 1.2% above the 15,110-point mark. Medium-capped EGX 70 index surged an 0.4%, and the broader EGX 100 index inched higher 1.1%. The Finance Ministry said today that starting from September the 1st, the central bank's exchange rate of the foreign currencies will be applied when assessing customs duties on imports. A ministry statement said that fixing the customs dollar price over the past period was an exceptional decision, with the aim of creating a stability in the prices of commodities in the national market in the wake of liberating the pound's exchange rate, as well as the volatility that hit trading on the dollar and other foreign currencies. The statement elaborated that the past few months witnessed a stability in the prices of foreign currencies, hence the price of the customs dollar was close to the price announced by the central bank. And oil prices fell today, extending weekend steep losses as investors were worried after the latest round of tit-for-tat tariffs between the United States and China, while dealers are also concerned about reports that the Russian output cut last month fell short of an agreement with the OPEC. London's Brent crude futures, the international benchmark used to the price international oils, dropped a 0.15% to $59.16 a barrel, and the U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures were flat at a $55.1 per barrel.